Hey, wow, I have a new button on my Zoom and it says admit all. So I don't have to individually watch who's trying to get in. What a wonderful new thing. Welcome, Stephanie.
Hello, thank you. Good morning.
I better turn my volume up. Okay. Is this your first Compassionate Pomona meeting, Stephanie?
I believe so, yes. So thank you for
Okay.
the invite.
Well, I'm so glad that you're going to be here and tell us a little bit. We have a really full agenda, so I hope you can stay on for a while. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good. Hi, Renee.
Hi.
Oh, and there's Brenda Schultz. Hey there. Good to see you. Hi, Joe. It's nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
We've got some new, several first timers, so that's wonderful.
I'm gonna shut this cabinet down. Okay.
So we have a very full agenda. If you had a chance, I just sent it out. And we've got a number of presenters, including Sarah Rodriguez from Tri-City. Thank you, Sarah, for helping us understand all of the many things I just sent out, what you sent to me.
Thank you. I saw that.
Okay. So they had, and I've got just, I guess in January and in September, it's like starting all over again, and everybody's got new ideas and new events and new ways to collaborate. And so we're going to be looking at that today. So I don't see the Catherine and Dawn on yet. Linda, are you willing to take notes today?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we've gotten that out. So one of the things that we know, and I like to spend a little time this meeting. It's a short answers, very short answers to get to know each other a little bit. Having a sense of belonging makes a big difference in the health of an individual and the health of a community. And so I invite us to, as we check in, say who we are, introduce ourselves to each other. If we're with a particular organization, name that organization. And then share what might help you not feel like you belong. What are some experiences that you've had that may make you feel left out or overlooked, or anyway, what keeps us from that? So as we want to create a feeling of belonging in our community, it's good to look at what we might not want to do. And I'll start. I'm Jan Chase. I'm the convener of this meeting. I'm also the minister of the Unity Church here in Pomona. This next week, I will have been here 21 years in this city, so, and serving that community. For me, belonging or not belonging, when people don't respond to phone calls, emails, texts, I feel like I don't belong. and I'll just go through my screen. So Regina, you're first, and then Stephanie, and then Renee.
Good morning. My name is Regina Reynolds, and I have a small boutique biotech agency here in the Pomona area. I am involved in Compassionate Pomona and Unity Church through Jan. And wow, that is a difficult question and a certain twist on it. I guess what immediately came to mind was my experience in the biotech industry, which is largely, forgive me for saying, a good old boys club, and how extremely challenging it was over the past 30 years to, as a woman, and a woman whose background is in art, to actually succeed and thrive in that industry.
Thank you. Next. Stephanie.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. So my name is Stephanie Lobo. I work for the City of Pomona as a recreational coordinator for all of the teen program, which is what I oversee. So for that question, I would say an experience that has you feeling left out, I would say, is when I'm not included in conversations that maybe require my input, or even if it doesn't, it's always nice to feel like they want to know about my feedback on it or what I think. Because at some level, it still sort of has to do with all of us, since we're all working maybe in our different program areas, but they all sort of work together cohesively to provide a service for our community. So it's nice to feel included in like the workplace, which is a part of communication. Like if I'm around, they're like, hey, Steph, what do you think about this? Like, how do you feel? What do you think? What are your thoughts? It feels like my voice and my thoughts and stuff matter. So it's always nice to feel included.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I look forward to your presentation today. Renee, and then Angela. Welcome, Angela, and Renee, and then Sarah.
Good morning. Happy New Year to everybody. My name is Renee Barbie. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Operations for La Nueva Voz newspaper, Pomona's only community newspaper. And we are on deadline this week. Tomorrow's deadline for our January issue. We have a lot of stuff going on, and I am just, my whole mind is wrapped around everything that's going on in our government, in our city, in surrounding cities. And I'm just swamped right now, but that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela. Are you available, Angela?
Yes, sorry. I was just trying to get my camera to move over. Let me just shift something.
Okay. And I'm putting the question in the chat.
Okay, hi. I'm Angela Torres. I work in our community programs unit for the Pomona Police Department. And I guess what's off-putting to me is similar to what somebody else said earlier is I want to be invited to the conversation, and I want to make sure that even if I don't necessarily have a lot to say, that I at least feel like I'm a part of it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Sarah, then Diane, and then Linda.
Okay, my name is Sarah Rodriguez. I am the MHSA projects manager for Tri-City Mental Health. And my answer is kind of strange, but I have very, very vivid dreams. And I think any negative theme that, we come across as human beings, they can manifest in your dreams. So because my dreams are so vivid and just realistic, the theme of my dream last night was actually being left out, not mattering, not being a part of something bigger than myself. And I woke up just really feeling that was real. So yeah, kind of a weird answer for me, but my dreams are just so vivid that whatever happens in them, if it's negative, it takes me a while to shake it off in the morning. So that is my answer to the question.
And how synchronistic.
Yeah. It's so strange that you
that?
brought that up. Yeah, I was actually talking to a girlfriend on the way to work, and we were talking about the dreams we had last night. She's also a very vivid dreamer. So yeah, totally the theme of my dream last night. Very strange you brought that up, Jan.
It is. Well, we're all connected, you know,
Yes.
in the oneness, we're one. So
Exactly.
Diane, would you join us, answer the question, introduce yourself? We're glad you're here.
Yes, of course, thank you. My name is Diane and I am one of the case managers here at PCS Family Services. My answer to that question is kind of similar to what someone else said earlier as well. I think just not being invited to a conversation if there is a meeting or there's something, I guess just I'd like to just stay in the loop on something. So I feel like sometimes not being included in the conversation, you know, maybe it has nothing to do with me, but you know, just hearing other people's perspective on that topic is something that I feel would make me feel more comfortable on, hey, maybe I do have something put to provide. But yeah, that would be my answer.
Thank you. We're glad you're here. Linda, and then Joe, and then Michelle.
I guess I think of my growing up, and that when I felt the least or the most left out maybe was with mean girls, when they would whisper or talk and leave me out of the conversation. I think not being included is really devastating to a person. And I'm a retiree. I don't have any affiliation except just supporting Jan's work.
Thank you, Linda. Actually, you seem to be very involved in a number of things. We are so blessed to have you. Joe, we welcome you.
Thank you. My name is Joe Shim. I currently am a teacher at Pantera Elementary, teaching 6th grade, but I'm also the Service Award Coordinator for Pomona Unified School District. I've been doing that for a few years now. So I'll be talking to you all about and addressing some of the concerns that some of you have actually said about how you feel out of place. I hope to anyway. So I would say my experience would be when I go travel sometimes, because other parts of the country are, you know, a little not as welcoming.
Wow. Yes, thank you. Michelle, then Michael, then Evelyn, then Brenda.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Viorato. I'm the Assistant Director for Government and External Affairs at California State Polytechnic University. On our campus, I serve as a legislative liaison and legislative advocate on behalf of the Cal Poly Pomona community, students, faculty, and staff, as well as the CSU as a whole. And I also serve a dual role as the Student Civic and Voter Empowerment Coordinator. So I'll get to talk to you about some stuff that we're trying to do to get students and the community involved in the upcoming election. But to Jan's point, other than everything that's already been shared, I've experienced everything that's been shared, except for the dream, of course. I feel like that's very specific and particular. But for me, working in a university, having attended a CSU, what can make me feel like I don't belong is being in spaces where I feel like my voice does matter. And people always ask me if I'm a student. Or if I'm in Sacramento. I went to Sacramento on Tuesday and I met with legislative staff, and something that people don't realize is that legislative staff are just as important, if not more important, than meeting with the members themselves. I met with a legislative staff member. There was a community member that was meeting with the state senator, and they asked me when I come out of my meeting with the staff member if I was there for a job interview. Because they thought I was young. So what makes me not feel belong is when people make assumptions about me and my experience based on how I look or what I'm wearing. Yeah, that's it for me. Great to see all of you. I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you. We welcome you. Michael, Brenda, welcome, Roberta.
What immediately came to mind for me when you posed the question was something that my now deceased husband told me. He was the rector of a St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Pomona. And he said that when somebody joins a church community, if they haven't made at least 3 significant relationships, within the first 6 months, they don't stick. And I find that to be the case for me in my community involvements. If I can make one or two or even or three close relationships in a setting, I'll feel a part of it. So it's kind of a very personal thing, but it has to do with the depth of relationships that I can form within a community. It doesn't have to be with everybody, but just one or two that makes me really feel rooted and connected.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda, and then since Roberta her picture is next, I'll go to her, the questions in the chat. Roberta, yeah, Brenda.
Okay, my name is Brenda Schultz, and I'm affiliated with Southern California Conservation Corps. I'm on the board of directors. And for me, I think everyone's pretty much covered it. When I'm not included in conversation or if I'm left out in the loop, it's a very alone feeling. And what I try to do when I'm in a group and I see somebody that is maybe standing off to the side, well, I always think it's a good idea for welcome just by our gestures that we do. That's it. I just love giving back to the community.
Thank you. Roberta, welcome. Richard, Dick. The question is, it's in the chat, but it is, since a sense of belonging is so important to a community, what makes you feel left out or put you off in terms of, or feel unwelcome? Roberta, you're next.
Thank you. Thank you, Jan. First of all, good morning, everyone. Oh, well, it's a little hard because being in politics, there are certain times like you just walk into a room and you just don't feel the love, you know? What is it that makes me specifically feel, you know, disconnected? Some of it is probably sometimes in our heads, you know, you know, we feel certain people just are not on board. You heard something that someone said, or, you know, again, being in politics, that happens, you know, somebody says, oh, this one doesn't like you, this one doesn't like you, you know. So I stopped listening to who doesn't like me, just stick my hand out and try to shake people's hands. And that's the way, you know, that's the way that I can roll in situations like that. But in politics, yeah, it is difficult because there are people that, you know, one of the things I say is if you never, if you never, how would I say it? If you stand for something, there are going to be people that don't like you. Always. If you stand for something and you really stand for it, there'll be people that don't like you. And it's okay. I think our own acceptance of that is okay. It's okay not that everybody doesn't, you know, you're not put on this earth to please. You're put on this earth to do your thing, to have compassion, to feel what you feel. You can't control what other people feel. So I don't know. That's, I guess, what I would say. Thanks, Jan.
You're welcome. Thank you. Dick, I'll go to you. Welcome. And then Paulette, sorry, the people with their cameras on get priority because
that's okay.
We have faces.
They have faces. Well, they pop up in my screen. That's the deal. Dick.
Well, I think when Roberta said when you take leadership, you know that you're going to offend some people, and so it's kind of ironic. Here we want to belong, and here we are as leaders in an organization, only to find that if you're dealing with let's say 500 people who are somehow your constituency, you're always going to have 50 who wish you were somewhere else, and so I resonate with that, and it's a lonely feeling because you feel that you're giving your all, and you've earned the right, you know, the love and the respect, only to find that there are those who think you're on the wrong track. So, yeah, thanks, Roberta. You really helped me to deal with this complicated question.
Thank you. Paulette, and then Stephanie. And
Hi, I'm
then
Paulette, and I've been following Jan and trying to stay involved as much as I can. My company is Healthcare Consultants. I'm the CEO. We're the traveling classroom for different subjects like CPR, first aid, HIV, and a whole slew of other things. Okay, and I'm involved in the Optimist Club, NAACP, and several other organizations. When I feel I don't belong or that kind of feeling, if I'm not being used, my services aren't being used, I feel like, well, there's a disconnect. I says, well, maybe it's a Pomona thing. I don't know. Or maybe I don't make it clear that, hey, I don't know where the disconnect is, but there's definitely a disconnect. So, and then I tend to, just for a moment, to feel I don't belong. And then I fill my brain with, yes, I do. And I think of good people like Jan and Lorraine and Andy and the rest of them that accept me for who I am. Then I feel connected again. So that's like I would say, off and on type thing.
beautiful. Stephanie, did you already speak?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so Andy. And then Madeline.
Did you say Andy?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Hi,
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Andy Quinones. I'm the director of the SoCal Service Corps, a local nonprofit that focuses on service learning and volunteering and things of that nature. I've been trying to think about a time I've actually felt left out, and I really can't remember. I have the great ability to fit in just about anywhere. Make friends with
You
anywhere.
do.
I've traveled the world, and yeah, I can't remember. However, because of today's current situation with the World Economic Forum and Davos and Klaus Schwab, I feel left out that there are people making decisions that are not elected, that are going to affect the whole world. And so I feel left out when people in power and influence make decisions without the consent of the people.
Thank you, Andy. Very interesting answer. Madeline, welcome.
Well, good morning, everybody. So I think my name is Madeline Brooks. I'm a principal on assignment with People and Community Services with Pomona Unified School District. And I think the prompt is a time when you did not belong.
Yes.
Mine will probably, when I went back to summer camp, I didn't know how to swim. And not having a skill that other people possessed was very challenging. And everybody had to do a swim test to see if you could go into the deep side of the pool or the shallow side. So I had to stay in the shallow side of the pool because I didn't know how to swim. I think I was in 6th grade. But what I know is that when you don't belong, you have to ask yourself, is this somewhere where you want to belong? Because sometimes you don't want to belong in every place and time and, scenario. And if it's yes, this is somewhere where I want to belong, then you have to take it upon yourself to figure out how you can belong. So I went to swimming school as an adult for many, many years. And I still go because I don't have the confidence. And every other summer I go take local classes at the local community pools. Because I want to belong in a pool. I don't want to drown. So
great story. Did you mention where you work, Madeline?
I did with Pomona Unified School District.
Okay. Evelyn, and then Cindy. Oh, Evelyn.
Hi. Hi, I'm Evelyn Hernandez. I work with the Department of Children and Family Services. I was thinking about this question that you were asking, and I was thinking, do I want to take this to my childhood or do I want to take it right now currently? So I feel like I don't belong when my children don't feel like they belong. I have a child who's autistic, and during COVID, it was really a tough time because he did not wear a mask. He would not wear a mask, and we had a doctor's exemption for that, not because we were trying to make a statement or anything. It was just because my child would not wear a mask. And there was places that turned us away because he would not wear a mask. And so that was a time that was very hard, including churches that I felt I did not belong to and did not belong, period, because my son was not welcome. And so that's what I kind of wanted to share, that, you know, I'm glad that that is it's a different time now, but that was during a time in my life where it just really hit me really hard that we didn't belong, and there was nothing I could do about it except, just like the other person just said, you have to ask yourself, do I want to belong here, you know? And so we kind of worked around that, and life is, you know, getting back to normal, but that was a time that I wanted to share that really impacted me.
That's a heart toucher. Thank you for sharing. We're learning from each other. Okay, so Marianne, I'll have you go, and then Cindy, and then Joanne.
Well, they say that inclusion is more than having a seat at the table, it's having a voice at the table. And so I would say when I don't feel included is when I'm not heard. You know, when you say something or present an idea and there's like no response, and then somebody says the exact same thing and everybody goes, yeah, that's cool. You know, then I feel really small.
Great examples. Thank you, Marianne. Cindy, and then Joanne.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Cindy. I'm a case manager at PCS Family Services. I was thinking a lot about this question, but I think Marianne did give a perfect example. But I also have to agree with everyone else, everyone else's example, how just being more invited and being more included in the conversation, or whichever conversation is what makes me feel more welcome, and in that given, like whatever is being discussed. So yeah, I think a lot of the answers I can definitely relate to.
Wonderful. Thank you, Cindy. We're glad you're here. Joanne.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Joanne Gaines with Compassionate California. I can identify with everyone. Thank you. All good examples and inputs. I started out at a women's only campus at Rutgers University and then went to work for a major organization in technical sales. So I went from all women to like the only woman. So with Regina, I can totally identify, but thank God things have changed. I like working in the background. It's not often where I find myself. But I love, you know, just finding my way and having one's voice heard and sticking to your principles, no matter what the consequences, right?
Thank you, Joanne. Okay. Does someone have the land acknowledgement up to read? We'd like to start our meetings with that. Does anyone have the agenda up?
I'll read it for you, Jan.
Thank you.
We acknowledge that the land on which the city of Pomona sits is the traditional homeland of the Tongva people, also known by other names, and the ancient peoples that came before them. We honor this land and the people who continue to feel their ancestral connection to it throughout generations.
Thank you, Linda. Would someone volunteer to lead us in a very quick breath technique?
I'll do it, Jan, if nobody else wants to, but I invite anyone who would like to do it. I know I do it frequently, so anybody else want to do that? Okay.
I think it's yours.
Okay, so let's do the straw breath. We've done it before, so we kind of know how to do it. Let me talk you through it a moment. Whenever we do our breathing, we sit with a nice tall back with our palms up and our hands in our lap. So you have your palms up facing the sky. And the way this breath works is you breathe in through your nose and out through a very thin straw. This is the straw breath. Not forceful, but slow and gentle. Again, in through the nose and out through the straw. Now I invite everyone to close their eyes if they're able. And let's do it together. So we're going to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through the thin straw. Again, in through your nose and out through the straw. Again, inhale, and exhale through the straw. Another deep breath in through the nose and out through the straw. And the last time in through the nose and out through the straw, and keep your eyes closed. And now let's just take some normal deep breaths in and out through the nose. Again, they say that when you breathe in, you bring the universe into yourself, and when you breathe out, you exhale, you're sharing yourself with the universe. So I love that thought. When you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Roberta. How do you all feel? I needed that, Roberta.
Did you?
I've been rushing to get ready for this. Linda, it says she's willing to take notes today, so thank you, Linda. For those of you who are new, Compassionate Pomona was proclaimed officially to be Compassionate Pomona with a proclamation on April 2nd, 2018. And we have been, took us 2.5 years to get that. And we've been working with the community ever since then and working together. So we're growing and doing a lot of amazing work, I think. So we're glad that we have some new people with us today. And I can give you more information about that if you want to connect with me offline outside of this call. So is there somebody that would be willing to look at the chat and tell me if like you're on the agenda and you have to leave before you're on, let me know. Put that in the chat. It's hard for me to watch the chat and run the meeting. So is somebody willing to watch the chat? And
Jan, I can do that for you.
Thank you. Okay, Regina, go. So I'm going to start off with Sarah, who I asked several weeks ago to give us a presentation about the amazing work that Tri-City does. And we always like to work together with Tri-City. So Sarah, I'm going to hit so that we can share the screen if you want to. Yes.
Thank you. Let me double check that I have access to share. There it goes. All right. And I'm going to be really mindful of time here because I know there's a lot on the agenda. And thank you for this platform. Just hearing what everybody does in the community, the different roles, the passions, who you are as people pulled out of, the profession. It's really great to see that. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm with Tri-City Mental Health. This is a mini community forum. So I'm going to talk to you about where we started, where we're at, and the services available. We're not just an adult outpatient clinic that provides therapy and has psychiatrists. We really look at whole person wellness. So I'm hoping that some of the items that you learn about today are helpful for yourself or the community that you serve. Again, just went over the agenda. So a little bit of background. Tri-City Mental Health has been around for 63 years, since 1960. We're going on 64. We were established when the three city governments of Pomona, Claremont, and Laverne decided to merge as a joint power authority and get independent funding for mental health services outside of LA County. We're one of two areas in California that decided to do this, that decided to identify themselves separate from their larger county. It's us, the three cities here, and Berkeley. Everyone else is just defined by the county that they reside in when it comes to mental health funding specifically. So we have our mental health services, like early intervention and crisis support and the outpatient services that I think when people think mental health, they think therapy, which is true, but there's a lot more to it. Prevention and well-being programs, which are really going to focus on looking at people's resiliency, recovery, and promoting that whole person wellness from a variety of different ways and modalities. And then, of course, we have our community support programs. So this is looking at community building, and there's a lot of programs that we have regarding referrals. We might not have what someone is looking for, but we want to be able to refer and find what you're looking for if we don't have it, or potentially create that programming to be able to support the community in that fashion. Okay. So the MHSA, the Mental Health Services Act, is one component of Tri-City Mental Health, where we have a lot of programming that gets funded in different ways. You know, when we have certain outpatient departments that are funded through insurance, through Medi-Cal realignment, then we have our Mental Health Services Act, or Proposition 63, was really the first huge overhaul in California of mental health services funding. And in part, this happened because in the 60s, the state decided to start shutting down all of our state hospitals with no transitional plan for individuals who are coming out of those hospitals. And from that, you see a ripple effect of many different negative things that are happening to individuals, to families, to communities, because there was no transitional plan when those state hospitals began to close in the 60s. So MHSA comes along. It is passed. It is funded through the millionaire's tax. Anyone in California who makes over $1 million annually, the monies that exceeds $1 million is taxed 1%. That 1% goes directly into MHSA and creates many of the programs that you're going to learn about today. What's incredible is what started as MHSA being responsible for 10% of all of California funding, it has jumped to 24%. So it is really significant that we receive, you know, these funds from the millionaire's tax to create programming that we otherwise would not be able to create. And we're going to learn about the 5 components of MHSA. So I'll go ahead and jump right into that. We have our community services and supports, and those are the direct services for individuals with severe mental illness. We're talking about full service partnership here, right? FSP. We have our prevention and early intervention programs, which are really looking at intervening early on before any symptoms or impairments that are indicative of a mental health diagnosis occur. So before they're happening at all, to equip people to cope and to recognize, or at early onset of any mental health symptoms or impairments occur. Innovations is really looking at something new, right? An example of this is we have a employment department for the community, because people were saying, you know, yeah, mental health, I need to address my mental health and everything. But for me right now, part of my wellness, part of my mental health is having income for my family, is getting food on the table, is knowing that my people are taken care of. So I need a job. So an innovation project back in the day was a employment department for the community. We now have something set up at the wellness center where people can go rev up their resumes with staff, set up interviews. We are aware of who's hiring in the community, and we will help people get up to that interview process. We will do mock interviews. So that project was so successful after a period of a 3-year temporary funding. It is established now. It got permanent funding. It's a permanent part of Tri-City Mental Health. Capital facilities and technology is just really any artist needs the tools to create, right? So we need our buildings in which we work, the computers that have our electronic health records that are safe, that people's individuals' information, via HIPAA law is being protected and not at risk of exposure. And then workforce education and training. It's great to be fully staffed, right? But you want to be fully staffed with individuals who are passionate, genuine, effective at what they do. So the people, fantastic. The numbers, great. That quality needs to be there. So we're constantly educating our staff, the community, providing free trainings, and really focusing on cultural competency as well. So that first component I talked about, and by the way, these 5 components I just overviewed with you, it's the same in every county. So you may find different programming under each component. This is how we do ours. And for sake of time, I'm going to touch on some of these departments, but I'm not going to go over all of them because I think there's like 40. So community services and supports was established in 2009. For example, for full service partnership. When you look at the DSM, or the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Illness, we are working in full service partnership with individuals that might be experiencing more severe symptoms and impairments of their particular mental health diagnosis at that time. We view individual symptoms and impairments from mild, moderate, or severe a lot of times when it comes to diagnosis in the DSM. So full service partnership is really helping individuals that are experiencing a high level of struggles at this time for whatever reason. Our crisis team, they are going to go out into the community. They might go to encampments. They might go to motels. They are just going to get out there and ask if people need help. The PD might call Sean, our manager of the crisis and outreach engagement team. And Sean might partner with PD to go to a particular place in the community where it's been identified, this is more of a mental health concern than criminal activity, right? Or something that PD might need to intervene in. So we will go. Field capable clinical services for older adults. We wanted to remove that barrier of maybe someone isn't seeking mental health because they don't have the transportation. They don't have the funds for the bus. They're not fully mobile, so they can't walk to the clinic. So we are going to go to you. We are going to go to the individuals. And then, of course, our famous wellness center. I'll share a schedule with you later. It's a hub of activities. They are open. We are, it's a slow transition, going back to in-person. We do have some virtual services, and we have in-person services depending on the need. The navigators are resource experts. Like I said, if we have it, we'll link you to it. If we don't have it, we will link externally. Access to Care is our intake department. So these are the individuals who will screen you, run your assessment specifically for the clinical therapeutic services, or for a psychiatrist. You need to get screened for that, right? That is a billable insurance department that we're talking about. And then permanent supportive housing. We have physical housing locations throughout the community, throughout Claremont, Pomona, and Laverne. Permanent supportive housing, we're talking here about the physical actual unit, not necessarily the programming there. I'll get to that in just a little bit. PEI. So our community and mental health trainers have several trainings coming up. I will show you that shortly. They are available to anybody in this room. If you want a training for your community, for your staff, for your organization, let me know. I will link you to our coordinators, and there are several different trainings regarding mental health and wellness that they can provide you. Stigma reduction is really just getting out there about, we had a discussion in a meeting the other day. Hate is not a mental illness in the DSM. Hate is not a diagnosis, right? So we're out there really reducing stigma and letting people know anytime something bad in the community happens, it doesn't mean it's a result of mental illness. Those numbers can be as low as 1 in every 3 individuals, who are homeless, for example, might have a mental health diagnosis. That means 66% do not. TAE and older adult well-being, peer mentors, wellness center. We're looking at peer support. Not everybody wants to see a psychiatrist or needs to see a therapist. Maybe they just need a peer who has lived experience, who's gone something similar to what they've gone through. That's this relationship here. Early psychosis. There is research and evidence that allows us to know if someone's at high risk of experiencing a psychotic episode in their life because of family history, because of trauma, whatever it may be. So the early psychosis program is there to meet youth where they are at if they've experienced a first psychotic episode, or are at risk of experiencing a first psychotic episode. School-based program is the bridge between Tri-City and K through 12. A lot of people, whether it be, schools, organizations, community members, don't know we exist. And if they know we exist, they don't know we're open, right? So we're out here really reminding people we're here. We have a slew of services. NAMI is a wonderful partner that we have. So we're talking about individuals who may have a family member that is experiencing symptoms of a mental illness, symptoms or impairments. Well, the family needs support too, right? Nothing is happening in a silo, and there's ripple effects when things happen to other individuals in the family, the community, the neighborhood. We want to get that positive support surrounding the entire system, the entire family unit. Community wellbeing grants, actually right now, if anybody's interested, we are revving up our new cycle of grants. People who qualify can receive up to $10,000 through our grant program if you serve 0 to 25, and if your programming is intended to support 0 to 25. We're really focusing on the Tay age with our community wellbeing grants. So again, let me know. You can drop your number in the chat or your email, and I will link you to Daisy Martinez, who's getting ready to roll out our new year of grants. Therapeutic Community Garden. I was a therapist here for 6 years, so this is very near and dear to my heart. They use the modality called therapeutic horticulture. Some people don't want to be in a room under artificial lighting for their therapy sessions. This group therapy, this is a group therapy setting, and it is in a garden space. If you're ever on Gary and you pass the 2008 building, oh my gosh, they're going through a rejuvenation right now, and the garden beds are starting to get put in. The foundation for the outdoor classroom is coming in. In months, I don't want to give you a date because I could still see there's a lot going on in there. We will be back out in the garden together, which will be fantastic. Getting our hands dirty, planting seeds, harvesting, and learning all the lessons and parallels that the cycles of nature and our cycles as human beings. There's so many parallels. Housing stability is going to be, again, unlike the physical housing units we have, housing stability is there to make sure that once you've obtained the housing, you maintain the housing. It's one thing to get the key. It's another thing to go from coming out of a situation where you might be experiencing homelessness, right? Or maybe you were couch surfing. Maybe it was housing insecurity. And all of a sudden there's all these rules and deadlines you have to meet now that you have a residence. Housing stability is there to help with that and make sure people maintain the housing once they receive it. An example of an innovation project that we're working on right now is Psychiatric Advance Directives, or PADS. And what this is just like someone would make like end of life decision making, for physical ailments. A psychiatric advance directive is something you could fill out that, God forbid, at some point you are experiencing a first psychotic episode, or you are unable to make decisions because of some kind of concern related to mental health. This psychiatric advance directive makes sure that whoever's working with you in the hospitals or whatever clinic, that they're calling the person you've identified as your safe person, that they're not providing you the services that you would have declined under a situation where you are able to make decisions. Totally voluntary, full consent is needed, but it's something new. It's something that 7 different counties in California are working on to kind of roll this out as, again, it's innovative. It's something new. It's something we're trying with 7 other counties and working on this programming and making sure, the efficacy and the ethics are there. And again, I mentioned, capital facilities and technological needs. We need the buildings, right? We need the security guards. We need the new technology to do our jobs and do them well. So this is really where that is really wonderful to have this under MHSA, because it sets up that consistency and that ability to pull from one of our largest pools of money, which I will show you right now. and put some of that leftover money into capital facilities and technological needs to make sure we're able to do our jobs effectively and safely. And then again, we have workforce education and training. This is the fifth component. We want to develop a volunteer force. And again, just like the teachers are experiencing a shortage and a mass exodus of the teaching profession, we are too. It is very difficult to find effective and passionate clinicians right now, and not only get them on board, but keep them. You know, community mental health has historically had a huge turnover, and Tri-City Mental Health is no different. All the counties are experiencing this. So we want to get into the high schools and see if people are passionate about this fit. It's not for everybody, but if it's for you, let's foster that spark and see if this is the direction you want to go. And of course, train existing staff, support them. Look at future, volunteers and future employees in the community. So the 5 components again, the largest chunk, 76% of MHSA funding goes to community services and supports, the highest level of care needed. 19% goes to prevention and early intervention. That was our gardens and our trainings. 5% goes to innovations like PATHS, the new Psychiatric Advanced Directive, and capital facilities and technological needs, as well as workforce education and training, are going to receive chunks of money that are redirected from community services and supports. Main reason for that, that's the biggest chunk of money. That's where we can pull from. And there's always something there to be able to allocate to the other 2 components. I throw these QR codes on the screen too, because this was brought up again when we were talking about feeling left out. And I always think about that South African quote that came out of a South African disability movement: nothing about us without us. As community mental health, legally, we want to, we need to involve the community, but ethically, we want to involve the community. All these decisions are being made. There's all these seats at the table, voices need to be heard. And I know for me, I feel very similar to what others were saying, when in the check-in, if decisions are being made about me, my people, my family, my community, myself or someone like me better be at that table, because that's the way decisions are going to be made by the people for the people. So if you're up to it, if you're able to, scan the QR code and give us your feedback. Do you feel like there's programming that could be developed? Do you have suggestions? Is there something you really like that we're doing that you want to see more of? Definitely want to get your opinion. And here we just kind of show you our process, the roadmap to change to new programming, fall stakeholder meetings, then move into the MHSA work groups where programming is looked into even deeper. This is actually considered a winter stakeholder meeting, step 3. We're discussing the current groups, and I'm asking for recommendations. If there's anything you want to say, of course, that's invitational. I invite you to share, give recommendations, and you don't have to if you don't want to. You can put it in the chat. You can email me. We're going to post the draft of the MHSA annual update soon. I'm actually working on that right now. It takes a while. It's like a 600-page document. It's my first time doing it, so that'll be fun. And then approval and adoption at the public hearing will be next. So after the 30-day posting, sending it to the governing board, and if all goes well, we're looking at a new plan. So that is the information. I definitely want to be respectful of everyone's time. I will actually really quickly here stop sharing so I can open my screen. I don't know if any questions were coming in. Jan sent out an email. There are like 8 flyers, I believe, in that email of relevant soon, events, trainings, groups. There's 2, I think, that are going on today. So I tried to send the most updated relevant flyers to Jan, including the reoccurring therapeutic community garden schedule, which is currently virtual since they are working on redoing the garden, and the reoccurring wellness center schedule. Both of those have a slew of groups in there, but please check out Jan's email. If you want me to send you the flyers individually, I can do that too. Just drop your name in the chat. And I will go ahead and stop there. I want to be respectful of that time. And yes, I see the comments coming in. Michael, I can definitely get you a copy of the PowerPoint. I got your email. Okay, so 2 questions from Marianne. So here's the thing. We can't serve billable Medi-Cal services to someone who lives in Upland. However, If you have any relationship, and you do because you're in this meeting, to Pomona, Claremont, or Laverne, if you work there, volunteer there, have a group there, go to church there, you qualify for our prevention and early intervention services. So those are the services at the Wellness Center. There are older adult groups at the Wellness Center. There are in-person options. The Therapeutic Community Garden has virtual older adult options right now. I believe those groups are on Tuesdays. So Marianne, for sake of not leafing through everything that was sent out, if you like, I could send you the services that you would qualify for, even though you're an Upland resident. Just keep in mind they wouldn't be able to be Medi-Cal billable services because they would have to be under the PEI component. So yeah, Marianne, if you want to throw your email in the chat, I will send you some items that would relate to older adults.
Okay, and they're two separate questions. The older adults live in the area. It's a youth that lives in Upland. Yeah,
even for youth, they're ideally there's a connection to the three cities. Whether you work there, go to school there, live there, volunteer there. I will say, when you sign in at the Wellness Center, you just write your name. They're not going to card you. Our main priority are the three cities, because that's where our funding it's provided for Claremont, Laverne, and Pomona. But the Therapeutic Community Garden and the Wellness Center in particular, they aren't going to turn you away if you're from another city. They're going to provide you services. The Therapeutic Community Garden may ask, what is your connection? What is your connection to the Tri-City area? But yes, I can get you an email if you want to leave your information. If not, all the flyers are in Jan's email from today.
And if there's more questions, let's put this, if you can stay, Sarah, as a parking lot. If you can stay till the end of the meeting, and then people can ask you more then, if that works for you.
Yeah,
okay.
I can go ahead and stop. I see questions and comments and requests, so I'm going to start taking my notes. And thank you so much for the time.
Well, I'm sorry we're so
I know
rushed. We just ended up having all these people at the last minute that had things that I felt like we needed to hear. So Joe, do you need to leave by 11? That's in 2 minutes. You're muted.
Stephanie does too, Jan.
By 11 or 11:15? Stephanie does?
Yes.
And Michelle, okay.
If you want, I could be very brief.
Okay, go ahead, Stephanie.
Alrighty. So I obviously didn't prepare a presentation for this morning,
That's
but I'll
fine.
be very brief with some quick info. So our project is called Compassion 101, and this project is a grant funded through the Tri-City. It's to engage and enrich our Pomona youth. So it's serving the age ranges of like 7 through 17. We break it into like 2 different groups because sometimes the 7 through 12 kind of have more in common than the kids that are 13 through 17. And basically, the purpose of this project is to provide our Pomona youth and present a different perspective on what they've typically been used to. Essentially, it's called Compassion 101. Like if you were to go to college and you go to an intro class, anything 101, we're trying to teach them compassion in different ways. And because compassion is so like such a big umbrella term, it sort of just boils down into different variations of not only for yourself, but others and how you function in the world. So we have created a series of 10 workshops, and each workshop is designed for specifically for different ages and different topics. One of the few of the topics include like coping mechanisms for teens. Obviously for adults in general, that's always a challenge to learn how to handle yourself and others. So we try to like bring that material and give that to our teens so that they know how to manage themselves in different challenging experiences that they go through throughout their day and their lives, so that they have compassion for others and being mindful of themselves as well, so that they can be better. When you know more, you do better. So it's different variations of compassion. Another series was like mental health and how to like different services, and we actually had Tri-City come in. And then they were tabling and also asking questions and giving them prompts and just trying to engage with the teens, which is always the most challenging because we did a few surveys and it's been pretty clear that anything that has to do with mental health is always really scary and they shy away with it completely. So that's also been a challenge, but a few of the workshops have been very successful, and we bring in like police, the Pomona Fire and PD, and we're trying to bridge the gap because there's obviously not always the best narrative with the community and first responders. So it's showing them compassion, and so then we bring in the officers. That workshop was intended to like showcase what they do, what they don't do, like how they function, different areas in their backgrounds to sort of like humanize. It's basically humanizing the officers because sometimes they look at them as just a badge or like the bad guys or something. So we wanted to show a different perspective so the teens could have compassion for those that are first responders working in that field, and not, they're not bad. They're not the bad guys. And so it's different. It's creating a series of different workshops to just sort of like bridge in the gaps and where they might be lacking so that they can have compassion for themselves and others. And this project is really cool. It's been very challenging in the best way because we're trying to see where we're like missing it, and then we try to like find the need, and when we do, it's really great. And the Pomona youth really do need it, and I'm really excited that Tri-City was able to like award us with this grant because we're doing some really good stuff. And I can definitely share out some of our flyers. Our upcoming one is on January 26th. We're going to be inviting the fire department, and we're going to do the same concept, right? As a first responder, but specifically for fire, what they do. And so I can definitely share out some like promotional marketing materials if you guys have any access to.
So Stephanie, send me the flyers if you can, and make sure that you send them. Are you sending them to PUSD so that they can get, is that
approved?
how you're getting kids? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry you have to leave, and
I know, I'm sorry as well.
Joe on too, because he's got to leave as well. I didn't know our Compassionate Pomona meetings are always at least 90 minutes. So for those
No
of you
worries. I'll share everything out. That way you guys can all share within each other if you have access to any teens or youth that would benefit from it. But thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you all.
Okay, and I know Michelle needs to leave in a few minutes too. So Joe, I'm going to have you on.
Okay.
You can share your screen.
That I'm kind of sad that Stephanie had to leave because I think Stephanie would be a natural fit as well as with many of you that are present at this meeting.
Yes.
So my background is doing the service awards for PUSD, and as of last August, I was approached by Legacy Plus, who has been working with the Drum Major Institute to create a new campaign. Some of you saw it launch this last Monday at the wildcard game, where Martin Luther King III, his wife, and his daughter were there to announce. They did do a commercial on that too. So I'm going to start right away. I'm just going to go really quick. I will share the slide deck with you so you all have access to this as well. Of course, Dr. King is one that everybody recognizes across the country and is a really good unifying person to talk about the unity, community, and service that we really want to promote, not just with our students, but within the community itself. And let's start right with the video here. Here's...
Can't hear it.
We're not able to hear it.
Sorry. Let's try that again.
Achieve the extraordinary.
They lift each other up,
Make each other stronger and better. Our communities can be a great team.
To bring them together, we're launching Realizing the Dream in collaboration with NFL Inspire Change.
Realizing the Dream is a bold call for 100 million hours of service by the 100th anniversary of my father's birth.
It's a big goal.
But so is our dream for America.
Okay, so these are the three players. They're part of the Drum Major Institute. Martin Luther King III, who is one of the 3 siblings, and his daughter and his wife. She's the last living descendant of Dr. King. So they have this initiative, which just started, but we're actually starting what we call a soft launch. The actual campaign itself, even though you'll see the website, it is live, but we're going to be really promoting this within the communities come August.
So there's some time.
Yes. So right now what I'm doing is I'm building up a coalition of affiliates and schools. I'll show you what that all is in a few minutes here, but we're trying to build up this momentum before the official launch. The whole idea was that 100 million hours for 100th anniversary, because this would have been his 95th birthday. So there are 3 pieces to this campaign. So I'm just going to show you real quick here. First one, of course, is the community service, which really embodies a lot of what you all do. And, the whole idea of not just the youth this time, but it's to try to reach everybody. So businesses, adults, parents, public, whomever, anybody and everybody that's interested in being part of this movement is what they're really promoting. This slide works really well with what some of you have been saying, especially with what Stephanie just spoke about. Self-education is actually a component that the Realizing the Dream campaign, it's not officially Realizing the Dream. I'm sorry, I need to take that back. It's called the Dr. King or Martin Luther King III campaign right now until August, when the official Realizing the Dream launches. But you'll see that in this campaign, they do also value self-education, because part of volunteering, part of being part of the movement is to also know and self-educate yourself. So what Stephanie's talking about, I think, would fit well into that self-education piece as being one of the possible areas of time to volunteer hours. You'll see some of the sponsors down below. These are not, again, officially in August, and you'll see that this will have a growing group as well. All of these slides, a lot of these slides do have links to more information. So here is some more information here. Get this a little bit larger. Okay. So I've already spoken about that. This is the purpose. The purpose is to try to spread and champion a program to build enthusiasm within the community itself. I have started by talking to a lot of schools, elementary, middle, and high schools. It doesn't matter what age, it doesn't matter, what affiliation. It could be churches, it could be businesses, it could be anybody, as far as they have this vision, the same vision of this community and service to it. So as a cohort, and this is one thing that I would ask, and this is for you all to decide if you want to be like a cohort. I can make, like, because I've been getting affiliates with PUSC. So PUSC itself, we have a lot of schools, and I'll show you that in a minute, but we also have affiliates. So like there's a church in Claremont, UCC Claremont, they're an affiliate with our campaign. We also have Uncommon Good, and we have Bright Prospects. So these are outside organizations that will be affiliated with it, so they can kind of promote it themselves as well, because it's about, again, building a bigger base, building bigger momentum, so that your hours will also count for recognition to this national database. That 100 million hours is going to be really important, that we get everybody to participate with that. Let me see what else. So there's some list of some affiliates down below. I have a timesheet, which I will, if this is something that you all are interested in, or in your separate organizations, if you want to be affiliated separately as an organization, I can give you the spreadsheet, which will help you to document how many hours each person is contributing. And then I just collect the aggregate hours. All the data is all private, and that will stay with you, with your businesses, or with your organization. I just want the aggregate hours that I could give back to the national database.
Can you come to another meeting? You've planted the seed, but I think we may need to think about it and see how that fits.
It's really difficult for me, because I do teach a class, and your meetings are in the morning. And so
Yeah.
right now, kids are being very good. They have work that they're working on right now. I do have some time. We'll talk later. Okay, I'll email you.
Also, Jan, I'm on speed dial with Joe, so if I can help and get information out to the group, Joe, I always come to the meetings. So just let me know how I can facilitate getting information out to Compassionate Pomona. Okay, I'd be happy to do that.
That'd be great. Andy had a question?
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I've been working with PUSD kids for over a decade now, maybe 2 decades, and we continue to do service learning activities. I have a cohort of about 12 kids that are all doing civic engagement stuff with ACT Pomona, All Children Thrive. So if I could get that data sheet that I need to fill out, I'd be more than happy to continue.
That'd be fantastic. And you know what, Andy, I know that there are, and this is the thing I've been trying to get out. Should have met with you all a lot earlier, but there are, for kids within QSD, we have a lot of service awards that to validate the work that they do. And let me get to that at the end there. You'll see some other components. And Andy, if you email me, and I have a place where you can email me and contact me, we can set up a separate Zoom and I can tell you everything about all the things that the district has to offer. Okay. All right, so let me keep going. The second pillar is community building. And of course, this is the exciting part for us as PUSD. One of the commitments is being part of the soft launch is also going to allow us to be a partner with the NFL more directly. So in August, when this officially launches, we will actually have an affiliation with the LA Rams for the next 5 years. Okay, so what does that really mean? We don't know yet, because this is all new. So what my vision, of course, is that the Rams will have volunteer opportunities within the community itself. And now I have a lot of places to choose from, so I can give the community people with the Rams, okay, so we can, these are different opportunities. Where would your players like to volunteer? And then we could set up opportunities within Pomona itself and open it up to cohort, and I'll show you our students, the cohorts that we have, the schools. We'll offer it up to cohort members. They can sign up and they can volunteer times with their football players. There's also possibility of coming out and doing some visitations. So we don't really know what this really means yet, but that it is nice that we have it locked down. There are only, I believe there are only about 12 cohorts that were taken for the soft launch. We are one of 8 states that are involved in this. I should have a picture of that. Okay, going back to my presentation, sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent. One of the things that they're going to do, and which is really exciting, is so the granddaughter, she is very active. She is starting college, but she's going to be part of this campaign. This was kind of like, she kind of pushed this through. And so they are going to do town halls across different parts where Dr. King traveled, Selma, Montgomery, DC, Atlanta. So these are going to be great. They're going to be recording these, they're going to be broadcasting these so that people can use these for inspiration as well. Capping it off, in 5 years, which will be his 100th birthday, they have already reserved a Lincoln Memorial, and they want to recreate the I Have a Dream speech right there at the National Mall, which will be absolutely amazing. So that'll be on Dr. King Day, and it'll be nationally televised. Hopefully, they're going to get partnership with whatever media outlet, whether it's like, they're in talks with, actually Netflix is one of the ones they're in talks with as well, so that this is something that can be broadcasted and shared with everybody. Third piece, of course, is the community engagement. This is to amplify the stories and find partnerships, and this is where you all fit in really well, because this is something that we want. We want stories, impact of community service on maybe some business, what you have seen. We're going to look for stories from students, from adults, from community members, and to me, I think this is really an important piece, because when we share our stories, we not only validate ourselves, we validate others that are doing the same things, but we also inspire other people. And since this is national, we have I just met with the cohorts yesterday. So we have a district in Texas, New York, Illinois, Florida, Minnesota, Wisconsin. We have 2 other districts within California. We have Cupertino and San Francisco. So those are all the different cohorts that are across the country. They're doing the exact same thing that we are. So again, what's nice about this is, like, being here is really exciting, because it's like, to me, having this cohort, building this cohort is showing that validation that you're not the only person, because a lot of times we have schools and kids are volunteering time, maybe within their family, just in their family, or maybe there's a little club, but they don't realize how big they are. And somebody said it earlier, being part of something greater. And this is what we have. We have the opportunity of really pushing this movement and being something greater for the next 5 years. You know, so I have students in elementary schools that are hopping on this, and they're going to be able to talk about this 5 years from now. They'll be able to apply to university and talk about the last 5 years of volunteering as part of this campaign. So we really want to build this up. So let me show you. This is what we have. Right now, all the ones in green are the schools that are already part of this cohort. We have a couple of Pomona schools with like Alcott and Arroyo. We have a lot of cluster 4 schools, which are Diamond Bar schools. Then we have, of course, our K-8 schools, Harrison, Vehar. I to be honest, I haven't met with San Jose, Cortez, and Lexington yet. I have a meeting with them next Tuesday, and I'm sure that they will hop on board. We have Simons and Lorbeer. We have 3 high schools, Village Academy, Pomona, and Diamond Ranch as of now. And what we're looking for, and Andy, this might go to you as well, we're looking for student leaders too to be a part of this, because it's about empowering the kids as well. So any student that you identify as a leader, they could be added to this email thread that I have going on, and so that they can feel that they have that empowerment and they can feel being part of the process. Okay. I know I'm speaking fast, there's a lot here. So these are the commitments that I'm really looking for, is to be part, if this is something that you're interested in, to be part of an email thread that you'll get weekly information updates, maybe bi-weekly, I don't know, depending on how much time I have, I guess, relaying volunteering opportunities for students. So I already have a website that I've created with the cohort schools, and I can add you as affiliate so that you can pass that information. You can, in fact, email directly on that email thread and give the rest of the cohort, here's an opportunity for you to volunteer. I'm not guaranteeing, how many kids you'll have volunteering, because right now we're just at the beginning of this, but hopefully this builds. And then, of course, spread the word about Dr. King's campaign. There's a couple things I'm working on. One is some type of display, if you're willing to be part of this, to like get a banner and display Dr. King's Realizing a Dream. When this launches in August, have a display out there in front of your business, in front of your work. We're going to do this in QSD. We're going to do it in front of all the schools to be part of we're Dr. King's school. We are, the common verbiage will be able to spread not only across the district, but across the community, across the country, is going to be really powerful. And then, lastly, this is my little bit here. If you do accept this commitment to participate in our end of the year celebration for our students and families. So any organization, any of our schools that volunteer at least 75 hours or more, all the kids that have spent that time volunteering and their families will be invited to a celebration at the district where we'll feed them, hear stories, and give out raffle prizes. Just a great way to celebrate their work that they've done, sharing stories of validation and everything like that. So it's hopefully going to be a really great opportunity. Oh, here's the other advantage you have. So one of the things will be to share your information with others, other like-minded people. And here's my slide. There's my contact information. If you're ready to be an affiliate, let me know and I'll add you to the email thread. And then you can, let me see if this works. Sometimes it's blocked. It's working. Maybe. Hold on, let's see if this works. Try that again. I do have a team that is pretty savvy with tech. I'm not. I've seen some TikToks and I've seen some Instagram, but I know nothing about it. So I have 2 members here that if you need some assistance in getting the word out, being part of it, I can set you up with with my team members that can tell you how to do TikTok and Instagram, how to check all the, there's all sorts of metrics that you can get from that as well. So I'm willing to give up them to help anybody out that's part of the affiliated program as well. Oh, let me go back. Where's my other video? 1 second. You have one more video I want to show you, which is this.
The NFL and ESPN are proud to be supporting a new initiative called Realizing the Dream, a movement to rally communities to perform 100 million hours of service leading up to the 100th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. We can all contribute to MLK's legacy through acts of volunteerism and social change as we play here in Tampa, Florida on a day that...
Yeah, that game wasn't much fun to watch, but, you know, the commercial was good. All right. Questions. I know I spoke really fast. Oh, website. I'll show you the website real quick. This is what a website. It just started off right now. It's going to look kind of like this. So a whole idea of unity, community, and service. Yeah, the only one I have right now is my school, but these are the other schools that and other affiliates. So you can have yours right there with the affiliates. We're gonna have an affiliates link right here, and then you can have more information about your organization, and then we can post other opportunities to work on this as well. All
right. Jen, may I speak or? Oh, I don't know where Jen went, but anyway, if I could just first of all, kudos, Joe, as always. Joe is an inspiration to all of us at the district. So thank you, Joe, for the work you continue to do. And on our Promoting Academic Achievement Task Force of Pomona's Promise, we fund some of Joe's projects. This is not the first one he's done. It may be the biggest, but it's not the first. And so I would really encourage Compassionate Pomona to be part. I mean, what better place for us than this, right? I mean, this is literally what we're about. Joe, a couple of things I had thought was maybe we start a club before the hard launch in August. Maybe we start clubs at these schools. We encourage the principals to arrange it. We could start a club, and maybe some of the people even in Compassionate Pomona would like to kind of sponsor that little club. I mean, it's not like there's costs really involved, it may be, $10 here or there, drinks and a treat now and then. But I mean, I think it would be really nice for people that want to partner maybe with a school, if we could get teacher advisors in some of those elementaries, and it doesn't have to be, they could meet once a month or something like that, and just get a club going. And that's how we could get our leadership going, amongst the kids. And then maybe Compassionate Pomona can partner, because we live in all different parts of town. And so maybe, people that live on the north side would want to partner with, San Jose, or, whatever the thing is. And people on the south side might want to partner with Ranch Hills, or whatever whatever
well,
the thing is.
that's the commitment that I did receive. That's why the schools in green, those are the admin. Usually elementary schools were all the admin, whereas the middle school and high schools, I have a club started at the high school level. So the different, like Lorraine, she's going to run the Joy Club that she has at Village Community High School that she's still involved in. She's going to morph that to be kind of like the Dr. King one. But we want to go beyond just the club. So when we do this, yes, the club is a focus because they can drive it, but we want the whole school involved too. So we want everybody to be part of it and to get acknowledgement. I'm going to meet with Madeline's got me set up to meet with the parents, and we're going to involve all the parents so they can be like, you can have a family day of service and get rewarded for that, get acknowledged for that. Even all of you volunteer a lot of time. You should get that, not that you all do it for a different reason, but still, it's nice to get that validation that, yes, somebody actually, we're doing part of something bigger and something greater. And so we do have clubs in almost every single one of those schools. They're either going to be like, some schools are going to go like ASB affiliates with the Dr. King campaign. My school, we're doing the Dr. King Club. So it all depends on the site. So yes, we have that going on.
So you were one step ahead of me as usual, Joe. But so any way that Madeline can help us with the parents and all that, that would be that would be great from, people in community services. That'd be wonderful. So, we're in full support, Joe, and I don't know, Jan, what you want to do in terms of Compassionate Pomona, but we can come up with some ideas and maybe shoot them out to Joe and, think about how we'd like to participate.
Do we want a brainstorming team? People that might like to talk about possibilities, maybe meet with Joe when he doesn't have a class that he's working on.
I am best reached after hours because both my kids are, one's married off and the other one's up at Davis. So I am open. If you're willing to meet later at night, I'm willing to hop on a Zoom with you. So, oh, and by the way, I'm sorry, I do have to throw in for, was it Andy? Oh, on the very last slide, you will see links to other QSD awards that we do offer for our students. And if you want to look into that, and I can also meet with you separately too at another time, and I can go over that. And lastly, somebody did ask about what is the Drum Major Institute's part to this. Drum Major Institute is the driving force. That's the one, that was the foundation that was started by Dr. King when he was alive. And that's the one that Martin Luther King III, his wife, and his daughter runs. And so there are the kind of like the driving force. They kind of like have a lot of connections. So they're kind of pushing that with the partnership with Legacy Plus. So they're working together to build this campaign up. That's what Drum Major Institute is going to do. Oh, and they're also Allstate. You saw Allstate's logo there. They are one of the major sponsors. They will underwrite some grants for this campaign as well as it launches.
I just appreciate your presentation. I don't quite understand how grade schoolers can do service learning. So I have a lot of education to do myself. I need to understand those possibilities. I can see high school. I have understood that, but the younger kids, I need ideas. I need to, so, and I can understand families, that makes a lot of sense. So I think we need to meet, we need to talk about possibilities. I catch your vision. What about the rest of you? I mean, I'm thinking, anybody else have comments, questions?
This is a perfect place for us, Jan. I mean, that's the perfect.
It is.
We have the intent. The intent is the spreading of compassion and the intent, and we put attention on it, and then the manifestation happens, right? So
that's right. That's
yeah,
right. So, and I've been thinking how, we started off, and some of you may not know this, when we first started, we started with a values program, and we had kids and churches and all the organizations getting involved in programs around giving, programs around thankfulness, showing thanks and gratitude. And so we had lots of activity in the schools, in the churches, in the community. And that's been, then COVID hit, we didn't, that all stopped. So this is a way to get that going in an even more organized way. So yeah, and I could see Tri-City getting involved. I can see mental health being really improved through this, or understood better, and just whatever we're doing, I think it could help. I could see character champions maybe getting kids involved in. We talked about maybe puppeteers training, and who knows, artwork.
I'd be more than happy to be part of a subcommittee if you want to, if we want to see if there are volunteers here that'd like to. I mean, I was on PTA for more years than I'd like to us, but so we did nothing but service projects with the schools. We worked with the ASBs. I mean, I've got a million ideas, just not the time to carry them all out. But so
that's the problem.
Right, but we could certainly, brainstorm on what would work at, and for elementaries.
Who else was interested? I'm interested in being on that. Anybody else?
I'm interested, Paulette.
Paulette.
Okay.
I'm interested
Andy
depending
too.
on what day and time.
find a time that works. Anybody else?
You can
Okay.
count me in, Jan.
Oh, good. Ann. That's good. Okay, so
And we'll drag Madeline as we need her. So
yeah.
Madeline's like, oh, I know she'll call me. Anyway.
Well, I'm going to work. Actually, what I'm doing, I'm going to work with the parents. We're going to have a group of parents that's an affiliate POSD parent university. So what I'm listening for is the opportunities to provide service throughout the community. So my goal is to connect the parents that we identify to our community events where they can go volunteer and provide service hours. So I'm working with the various partners and establish a core group of parents to then become volunteers at the various events we have through the remainder of the school year.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay.
Yep. I have to get back to my students, but I just wanted to thank you all for your time. And I'm excited at what's going to happen from this. Thank you all very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe. It's nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Jan,
Yes.
I'm not sure if the person from Cal Poly, Michelle, is still with us, but she was next.
And I think she left. Michelle, are you here?
She's gone.
Okay. I think that she's going to talk about the same thing that Michael was going to talk about. Michael, do you want to talk about this thing that Cal Poly is doing? And,
Sure.
and was Michelle going to talk about that? Have you been working with her on this?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Cal Poly is hosting a candidates forum for the candidates running for the 53rd Assembly District in the upcoming election. And the candidates forum is scheduled to be on February 9th. They are looking for community outreach partners, which would be organizations that have networks of constituents or members to participate. I believe that did you put the flyer in the?
I put, yes, in it. I copied and pasted what you wrote me about it.
Okay.
So it's in the agenda.
All right.
Of the.
Very good. There's a link in the communication that came from Michelle's office for community outreach partners. They make it very easy to get involved. At a minimum, you publicize it to your membership, encourage people to attend. If you sign up, they'll give you an opportunity to submit a question for the candidates. This particular election is relevant because it's doesn't have any incumbents running, and so there's nobody with that advantage to dominate the field. So there are a handful of rising stars in the political realm, and it's good. It's a good opportunity to see who's coming up and who will support your agencies and organizations' issues and interests. So check out the link that is in the email from Michelle Virato that I sent to Jan that she forwarded. And you can actually put a question in there when you sign up, and then also guide your constituents in how to participate and be present either at the event itself, which is happening live at Cal Poly, or via Zoom. And they will have Zoom with translation. And you can also even host a Zoom for your group and have a conversation around it. So they've done a really beautiful job in making it easy to get involved.
Wow.
That's it. Any questions?
Thank you. I'm glad that you and Michelle were talking about the same thing, and that we were able to get that information.
Yeah.
And that I had already sent it out. So
yeah,
if you can apologize to Michelle for this.
Well, I think she got a very good education about what this group does. And I think it'll be really helpful to her in her job.
This is Tom White.
And,
Returning your
pardon me?
call. My number is 626-922.
Mary Ann, you weren't trying to contribute anything there, were you?
I think she's on a phone call.
All right. Anyway, yeah, I think Michelle and Cal Poly are great assets in the community, and I'm all about helping build some threads of connectivity between that institution and the groups that are participating in Compassionate Pomona.
Yeah. So are there next steps?
Yeah, go find that link and find the email that I sent to Jan that she forwarded. And
it's in the agenda. The link is
right.
in the agenda.
All right, very good. And that will, if you're interested in even just asking questions about whether your organization can participate, go to that link and fill in the blanks, and it'll offer you some opportunities. They made it very easy.
So do you think that Compassionate Pomona should do that as a group?
I think it would be great, because then we can put some questions to the candidates about the importance of compassion as a public virtue, and what they would like to see done within the cities that they are encompassing in their district, or what they can do at the state level. You know, that's something for this group to think about, and get into the hopper for things for the candidates to speak to.
I don't know if Joanne, are you still on the call? Yeah, you are. So Joanne runs Compassionate California, and we are already a compassionate state, but I don't know if that means that they're doing anything.
Lots of work still to be done, but I heard you, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see where else we can, you know, have some impact. I appreciate
Actually,
that.
I think the question Jan just asked would be a great question for a candidate.
Yeah.
You know, we've declared ourselves to be a compassionate state. What would you do to see if that manifests?
Yeah.
So as the current president of the Interfaith Council, we have a subcommittee for Compassionate Claremont that we had set on the back burner last year, but bringing it back up this year. And so I think some of us would be interested based on that.
That would be great. Claremont, incidentally, is not part of Assembly District 53. But I'm sure your service area includes cities
But
that
your
are.
area, yeah, all when we passed it, what was it, 21? It seems like forever ago. All assembly members and all senators in California voted, and they voted unanimously. There was a handful who didn't vote, but they didn't vote no. So just FYI, they're all on the, if they were in, they're in.
I'd like to know, is there a place for compassion in political campaigns?
Well, that's worth an article.
That is worth.
Yeah.
And I'm not writing it, by the way, Jen. But is there a place for compassion in political campaigns, or are political campaigns exempt from compassion? Is anything exempt from compassion? Okay. Okay. I mean,
no, there's an atmosphere which can be problematic, certainly, but absolutely there is a place.
There is definitely a place, and I don't know why people go, well, it's just politics, or it's just this, or it's just that. What do you mean it's just politics? No, it's just being human. So anyway, just a thought.
I can share with Jan, you know, what access to the resolution, which wasn't the final that we sent in, but also a brief write-up that kind of, talks to where we are and the long way we have to go. But there's a few keywords in there that I think that would be helpful, and I'll share that with Jan, and to the extent that she can share that out.
Okay.
In the last debate, the last question of each of the last Republican debate, they asked each one to say something nice about the other.
Yeah, that's a good one. They had trouble. Did they have trouble?
Always.
No, they found it pretty quickly.
Good. good. That's good to, that's a starting place, right?
Yes.
Okay, so and there's a no, that's because we have to get it done before February. So we have about 3 weeks, February 9th. We have to get it in
Go
pretty
in
soon.
and see today if there's something that you're, if you want to push the announcement out to your constituency through a mailing.
We are covering that assembly. We're covering that in-person event. We're covering that.
Very good. Very good. The NAACP and the Latino and Latina Roundtable are both partners in this organization or in this forum. But now they're looking for community outreach partners to help publicize and drive attendance.
So do we want to vote on if we want to help spread the word about this forum and this opportunity for further education? Is that appropriate to just vote on if we want to do it? We just did it with the local elections.
I'd so move.
Okay.
I'll second
Any seconds?
I'll
All
second
in favor, thumbs up.
Can't see a lot of thumbs. People aren't. There we go.
Thumbs up.
Any opposed?
I see. Any opposed? Thumbs down. Okay, the thumbs up have it. So Compassionate Pomona is going to be help the distribution, is that right? Of the information, and we can click on and ask questions, send in questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We do that as individuals, right?
I would urge you to do it as representatives of your agencies.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So I'm imagining that Compassionate Pomona leaders would put together some kind of question that includes a statement about the state being a compassionate state, and asking how the candidate sees his role as a representative to support the acts and meaning behind what compassion is.
I love that. Okay.
When people register to attend the event, they get a questionnaire that asks them, or they're being asked to submit questions. So if people who are coming in through Compassionate Pomona submit the same question, that would increase its likelihood of being asked to the candidates. Follow the logic there?
Got it.
Yeah, so we could create a question and route it out to everyone on Jan's email list along with the site.
Mm-hmm.
So who is willing to be on that question producing? Linda, are you?
I think I could work with Michael on it. I can work with Michael.
That'd be great.
I'm just
maybe
remembering that Michael said there's no incumbents, but I'm going to pass the information along. You might want to state your question, as if they're not 100% knowledgeable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Joanne, are you going to be on that team?
I can certainly contribute.
Okay.
It's not my district. I won't know anything about the candidates, but I'm happy to absolutely to contribute.
Well, since you run Compassionate California.
Yeah.
Yeah. That resolution, just knowing what it was.
Yes.
I'm
going to provide all of that, and I'll copy you. It sounds like Michael and Linda, Jan, and I don't know if there's others that
anybody else
want it
to be on that?
directly. Otherwise, Jan or whoever can share it out from there. Yeah.
Okay, I don't see anybody else.
I would like to see how I can participate. I missed the part, so I'll ask later just to not interrupt any further.
Wonderful, Patricia. Yeah. So Patricia Mickens. How do you pronounce your last name? Mickens? think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, Mickens. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. So now, moving on down, I don't see Catherine and Don on. I hope that all is well. They have been, working with the local elections, and I did send in a question for them. I don't know if the rest of you did. Regina, do you want to talk about the Women's Health Prevention Week?
Sure. I did put in the chat box the PDF for the agenda. This is an association called GAIAC, which is the Global Initiative about the Awareness of HIV. It is an amazing agenda of brilliant female thought leaders. Most of them are clinicians. So if anybody has any ties or distribution in the area, whether to the universities or any of the health centers, this is this is their 5th year now of an educational program, which is global. The agenda has a QR code on it for registration. Registration is free. And what I would encourage people to do is to register, because all of the webinars, and there are probably 30 of them, and some of them actually reach the government level of the United States. You can cherry pick programs and watch them on demand later. But Dr. Krishna has done amazing work globally, and I would highly recommend, if you can share it, we'd appreciate it.
And I did put the link out in the agenda for this, Regina, that you sent me.
Great. Thank you.
So it's 2 places. It's in the chat and it's on your agenda. Yes. And then do one of you, Linda, one of you want to briefly mention our Peace on Earth work that we started yesterday?
I think maybe it'd be better for us to talk about it later after we're more sure what we're talking about.
The only thing, the reason I bring it up is that they said that if people are really feel drawn to do it, that they're letting people in if they register by tomorrow. But I had put that out before and nobody but the 3 of us signed up. So I'm fine with waiting until we get into it and see.
And Jen, I would have to agree with Linda on that, because I think, the next session is going to be in May. And so maybe that would be a good way to approach it. So the 3 of us go through this process, and then we can share it with the group over time. And then, May or September is another time when people could really participate in it, and understand it better.
Good idea. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the homeless count. Again, the city is doing their count. They're really begging for people to come and help. Andy, are you still on? Yes, you are. You get involved in this every year. It's a Tuesday night, I believe. Will we get any sleep? Has anybody been? Yeah. Are we up all night, or how does that work?
No, not really. I mean, it depends on, I guess they divide people up in tracks. That's manageable. I guess this really depends on if we have enough volunteers, then it evens the load. So if we don't have enough volunteers, then they'll have to take on the extra tracks perhaps.
So they're asking for Ganesha Community Center for us to choose that. So that must be where they're missing or low in the count. So I put that in as well in the agenda.
Well,
so
the community center is where they work from.
Yeah, we depart from there.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, all of them, everyone?
Yes.
Usually in the past, yes. We all
Okay.
meet up there, and then they give us short training, and then they hand us a clipboard and divide us into teams, and then we return once we're finished with our route, and we pick up another route if we still have time or whatever it may be.
And you go in pairs, right? You don't go alone.
Yes, and again, it's usually because it's wintertime. At least my experience is, I'm usually the driver, and I have, a passenger that's actually looking and counting. So there's usually a pairs of 2 or 3.
And are you in cars or are you out
In
walking?
cars, yes.
Oh.
You're in cars.
When does this happen?
January 23rd.
January 23rd. Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday night. That's next week.
Do we have to register or just show up?
It's asking for registration,
All right.
but to volunteer visit, and it's in your agenda. I mean, that's why it took me so long to make this agenda, because we're being asked to do so much, and I wanted to get the information out to everybody.
I have a question to ask. If you're in cars, how do you really count and you're not on foot? That means you're going to miss people.
Yeah, and it's usually that way. In particular in wintertime when people are, I don't want to say hiding, but they're trying to stay warm somewhere. So I think they do it in wintertime because I'm guessing they hope more people are in the shelters to avoid the cold. So it's easier to count. However, again, as long as I've been doing it, I've always driven. I don't remember if there are walking teams. I don't recall if there are walking teams, but for the most part, again, they give us a map and we cruise around and just be observant.
Okay, so then if you're in cars, I guess my point is, then you're missing.
Absolutely, yes.
How many are actually out there?
Right. Well, I think it's a safety issue. I'm sure maybe a lot of homeless people or some homeless people are behind buildings in warehouse districts. And I think out of safety, they don't want people walking in unlit areas where there may be potential danger. So the car is the safest way to observe.
But if there's a big encampment, do people try to count how, if there's 50 people gathered somewhere, do they try?
Yeah. Well, again, that's just the thing. Again, it's one person is observing. If they see 50 people, then they mark 50 people.
Okay. Thank you, Andy, for your volunteering and your knowledge, and Linda around that. The next thing I have on my agenda is next week, well, the 20th, January 20th, Ubuntu is the spirit of Ubuntu, which means I am because we are, or I am because you are. There's a new film that's done by a couple that live in LA but go all over the world. They're incredible musicians. And they've filmed this, I think, all over the world. I think I'm going to go maybe with Laura Burgess. But we're looking at having this film come here to our area. And I think there may be several places we may want to have it in Pomona. Just be thinking about it, because it is very much about compassionate communities. And I think the University of Laverne may have a showing of it. So, and it may be, I was thinking it might be cool to have the theaters that PUSD have to show it there. It's supposed to be just totally amazing film. So let's think about, and maybe have it, have our partners like NAACP and the African American Museum of Beginnings, et cetera, co-sponsor forays, et cetera, that we were just working with last weekend. So, and I put the link for that is in the agenda. I want to thank everybody that helped us with the character champions. Joanne, do you want to say anything about last weekend? Or Marianne?
Marianne, yeah, definitely chime in. Thank you to everyone. I think it was a great success all around. Roberta came, Darren came. We have a lot to talk about. We actually had 2 students who came, who were, I'm going to say 16-ish, age 16-ish, who were given extra credit to come. What an awesome idea. And they participated enthusiastically. I would love to see more of that. And especially from Village Academy, as we're wanting to get Village Academy to start learning to be puppeteers. We definitely want to do that. So a lot to be said, probably offline, but just a huge thank you and for all who participated. Job well done.
Yeah. And I would just add, it was so exciting to see how involved the parents got. You know, that it wasn't just the little kids that were dancing to "I'm valuable, lovable, and capable." The parents were. And that, I think that's the first time I've seen that. So we're capturing their hearts also.
And the next show is Saturday, February 17th, and it is going to be at Unity. So we're getting ready to get ready. And we're going to have 3 shows in the sanctuary. And we are also going to have a name your price sale. So people have donated a lot of stuff to us that we want to pass on to the community, and people can tell us what they want to pay for anything that they want to take home with them. So Regina's made a great save the date flyer for that, and Diana and our team have made the puppet show flyer with Ling, who demonstrates kindness around Valentine's Day. So
it's actually Valentine's Day, my birthday, a couple of days before, but it's the actual date is Random Acts of Kindness Day on the 17th. It was very intentional. We have plans around that. And I sent the final flyers out this morning to everyone, Roberta and Madeline and Regina, Janet, etc. So I know they need to go further than I've sent them, but they did go out to my list, and I invite you all to help share the information. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Janet, let me just mention that, we can take these flyers and turn them into JPEGs. So I've been posting to Nextdoor, if others can do that too, or others are registered
Great
with
idea.
Patch. Okay. So I would invite others to share that way too.
I sent them out both ways as PDFs and JPEGs or PGNs or whatever they're, yeah.
Yeah. An image that can be shared on social media. Yeah.
Both.
So that's great. And we really want to get people there. And then Andrea had talked about the needs assessment survey, the asset mapping for the city. And so I sent out the QR codes again for that. So if you haven't filled it out for your organization, please do. It's so important that we get that people know all of the wonderful things that are happening in Pomona. And this is one of the ways that people can feel that they belong by seeing what's available for them, and that the givers feel they belong by having the community respond to all the work that they're doing. So this is a connecting piece. I want to thank everybody that helped us present about Compassionate Pomona at the mayor's COVID recovery meeting last Wednesday. Roberta, Laura Burgess, Catherine and Don Martins, and Andy and I all talked about what we do. And I was thrilled with the mayor's, he kept the contact, he kept talking about compassion and asked people about compassion in their organizations. And then he talked about a compassion campaign. Now I haven't followed up with him on that, but I'm thinking a compassion campaign would be an awesome thing. So any feedback? Anybody else have anything to say about our presentation? Okay.
Well, I think, wait a minute. I think having a compassion campaign would be great.
Sounds like a good idea. It's kind of catchy,
Yeah.
huh?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
And it
thank you
sounds
for
like
that.
something, groups of people will be glad to be involved in.
Jan,
Yeah.
did you ever find out if that was recorded or if there's a
I
transcript
have not heard back.
available?
I have not heard back from, I can reach out again to Beatrice. Andrea isn't at this meeting, and so, but I can remind me to ask Beatrice.
Okay.
We did ask once and she did not get back. As in terms of leftover stuff from the Kindness Carnival, we got a check last week from, or Sunday, I guess, from the Gold Line, the replacement check. So it's made out now to Unity Church with Kindness Carnival in the memo line. So we do have $500 that's there if we need it for something. And Linda's keeping our books, so
Website.
we need to send a thank you. A website, yes. Yes. Good idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
we are
wanna
going to
say-
need funding to continue our website as the years come by. So
Okay. Yeah. Good. We need a thank you to the Gold Line. Linda, do you want to write it? Do you want me to write it? So
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, Linda. Thank you. Do you want to talk about the website then, you two, Regina and Andy?
Well, at this point, there really isn't much to say other than we've made a decision to move the website from its current platform over to a platform that's called Squarespace, which will allow for updating of the website really easily because it's almost like a Word document. It's that easy. I would say at this point, Jan, until we really, and Andy, you can agree or disagree, sort out the details on, the site map and what we're going to do. I would ask people not to send Andy and I any pictures or anything at this point, because some of those files, well, they should be big, and then they kind of overwhelm my computer system. And I'd rather that kind of stuff goes into a Dropbox so that, it can be sorted out and used properly. Andy, we're going to be meeting this afternoon, right? Between 1 and 2 to review some things. Andy, what would you like to say?
no, that's about it. You covered it. I'll see you at 1. And I just, again, if we have any extra funding, it shouldn't have to come out of anyone's personal pocket. If we could fundraise, for the Kindness Carnival and just allow some of those funds to help pay the bills to maintain the website.
Yeah, and as Andy knows, I did offer to pay for the first year.
Thank you, Regina.
Yes, thank you.
That's very generous of you. I appreciate that. Okay, and we are changing the website because we want it to be more up to date, right? And
up to date and visual, and moreover synergistic with that bigger website assignment, which is the Charter for Compassion template. Yeah, that's kind of what's really driving this at this time.
Yeah. And then, so thank you both for being willing to do this. That's a lot of work you're taking on. And I appreciate that a lot. The next thing is, our next meeting is February 1st. Frank Rogers, I don't know how many of you know him. Dr. Frank Rogers is a spiritual formation professor at Claremont School of Theology. He's a powerful speaker, and he has written a number of books, mostly on compassion. his newest book, I have a picture of it there, is Cradled in the Arms of Compassion. And it's about his story of his healing from childhood sexual abuse. And so I have started it. It's hard to put down and it's hard to pick up because it's very real. And it's an issue that happens, unfortunately, in our community and probably in communities all over the world a lot. And something that most people don't want to talk about, but it affects mental health hugely. So I'm hoping that Tri-City can get involved. But he also talks about this training in IFS, which is internal family systems. Some of you may have worked with external family systems, but we have those systems inside ourselves as well. And we have our own managers and all different kinds of parts within us. And so it's also called parts work. And there's a training that's starting right after he speaks with us. So I hope you will come and spread the word about what he's doing. Yeah, Arturo. Did you have a question, Arturo?
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. This is the first time I ever hear the meeting by my phone. I'm usually in my computer. So good. Happy New Year to everyone. And I've been listening in, messing around with the phone. And I'm sorry to interrupt your meeting.
No, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Yeah.
You know, Roberta called me and I heard she was on the line. I said, "Oh, I better jump," because I heard something about PUSD. I said, "Oh, that sounds interesting." So I joined since Joe Shims, and I can't wait to hear compassionate ambassadors running around Pomona Unified School District in the neighborhood. That'd be great.
Wouldn't that be great?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. So the last thing is announcements, and I know that Paulette has an announcement. Paulette, go for it.
Yes, this coming Tuesday, I have the privilege to have what they call, it's through Blog Talk Radio, American Health Crisis. So I have a renowned international speaker. She's probably better than even when Dr. Spock existed. She got to meet him, and he told her she would do greater works than him. Anyway, she's going to be doing a 3-part series on bullying. So those that are in the Pomona Unified School District, or you have children, you may want to tune in. It's next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And then Jan, I had sent you the phone number that they would call into.
I sent it out. It's on your agenda.
Oh, okay. That I
So
believe, yeah. Okay, so
I
they
sent
have.
what you sent me, I sent out.
Oh, okay. Then you guys have it already. Anyway, Barbara Colarosa, she'll be on for 1 hour questions. Any more information? She wrote the first book on bullying, and she's a down-to-earth person. That's what I love the most about her. I got to meet her about maybe 5-6 years ago through one of the national convention that I'm a part of, Fathers and Family Coalition of America. I do a few things, but it's fun.
You do a lot.
But she is phenomenal. And we do have problems with bullying right here in Pomona, because on my neighborhood app, I was trying to follow up on it, because some kid that's in the Pomona Unified School District is disabled and beat up on all the time, and it looked like nothing's been done about it so far. And Barbara addresses all of that, because the teachers should be involved, and it sounds like nobody's involved, and so it bothers me.
Well, yes. And have you sent that to the schools? If you can send that to Roberta specifically, just forward it, tell her it's about bullying.
Yes.
Maybe she can get it posted on the PUSD website.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because to have Barbara, period, is not an easy task. And she's in Colorado, but she's all over the place, and she's called all over the world. That's how good she is. She's just an expert in that area. And she's got a heart like you, Jan. She really does. And she's just one of a kind. And so
How wonderful that you're so connected to her. And you know, there's bullying in schools, and some of those kids that are bullied are the ones that pick up guns and go back into the schools. And you know, so it needs to stop. And bullying in political campaigns is another place where we see a lot of bullying now. Yeah.
Okay, so do I have Dr. Perlman's email address or no? You said to send it to her.
If you email me, I'll send it to you.
Oh, okay. I'll
Okay.
do that. All right.
And
Great.
Paulette, this is Regina. You mentioned that, you know, you have that kind of classroom on wheels. I would really encourage you, and I can send it again to you via email, to look at that agenda for the HPV week. I mean, there's some amazing speakers. And like I said, it will be, if you register, you'll have access to it on demand whenever you want it.
Oh, okay. That would be great.
Since you're both in healthcare, yeah.
Yeah, that's my passion.
Yes.
That's my life work, my life passion.
Mine too.
Mine too.
Well, that's great.
So, okay. Is there anything else? Any other announcements? Announcements? So to close, I'll read today's daily word, which is on empowerment, which we are all empowered, right? The word for the day is, I find my empowerment by living from my divinity. Today, I give myself permission to shine. I need not wait for anyone to give me anything, because at the level of spirit, I have everything I could ever need. I am a divine being, endowed with so many spiritual gifts that are mine to use as only I can. This is my empowerment, my ability to create the life of my highest imagining through the power of my thoughts and actions. I drop the weight of limiting beliefs that have held me back. In the past, I may have told myself I didn't deserve the life I wanted, that I couldn't do the things I wanted to do most. Now, I tell myself a different story. I am deserving, I am capable, and I am empowered to accomplish all that I set out to do. This is inspired by Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and bold. Have no fear or dread of them, because it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. We are all a part of the oneness, the divine oneness. We support each other and we are supported. So thank you all. I appreciate your patience, and I ask forgiveness for putting so much on this very long meeting, but I think it was all important stuff, and stuff that had time things that had to be done this meeting or not done at all. So thank you. Any comments, any questions last minute? Okay, have a wonderful week. I get some hearts. Thank you. I need some hearts. And thank you for the prayers for my kitty. I think he's gonna have his eye taken out next week. Okay, bye-bye.